Imagine being a manager when you're 14. I had this comment come to me and it just blew my mind and it inspired me to create a video. How young is too young to be a manager? Welcome to the channel Leadership with Mike. On this channel, I help new managers be more confident leaders with no nonsense sense, if that makes any sense. 14 years old and being a manager. Wow. Probably seen a lot. I'm just kidding. You ain't seen shit. But I commend you. I applaud you for taking on such a role. Now, the question I started with is, can you be too young to be a manager? In my humble opinion, absolutely not. If you have the mental capacity to be a leader, to step up and start your career in such an excellent fashion, then go for it. If you're like me when I was 14, 15, 16, maybe you should just slow down and work on being an employee. But that said, here's the problem or problems with being a manager too early. The first thing, and again, when I say the problem, it doesn't mean that you can't. It just means if you're younger, and by younger, I'm going to say 30 or less, assume that it's probably going to be harder for people to trust you. Why? You're a kid. And I say that with like a derogatory tone. It's just a kid. Yeah, what do they know? You have to earn trust. As a manager, and I've said in many videos, you give trust to your team right away. They don't have to earn it. But as a manager, and especially as a young manager, you're going to have to earn trust. It's going to be hard. You're going to be peer pressured. But you've chosen this. You've chosen to be pressured, so to speak, so that eventually when you get older, when you advance your role, you've got this wealth of knowledge that you just got beat into you. There's no nice way to say it. It's going to be tough, but you got it because you've got the mental capacity to think, I'm going to start my career now. The next thing you have to understand is you don't have the experience. I know that as a younger leader, it's hard to draw on past experiences because you've got senior employees who actually have experienced this problem, and you're a young buck just trying to get things going. You haven't experienced. You haven't, let's say at the airport, you haven't experienced a power bump where the entire system goes black and we don't know where the bags are. You're new, you're young. You don't understand how to reboot things. Now, this is fair to say with all managers, but as a young manager, it may be hard for you to connect the dots only because you don't have the life experience of connecting said dots. The next thing is you're probably going to be looked down on, not looked up to. Now, do I say, oh, all managers are heroes? No, but when a new employee comes in, typically they look up to the manager to know what's going on. They look up to the manager for guidance. I had people look up to me or come to me with life questions. How do I go about this? How do I go about that? As a young manager, this isn't going to happen. Not that that's a blessing or a curse. It's just people are going to probably look down on you in the sense of, yeah, look at this hero. Yeah, look at this hero trying to do something, make a name for themselves, whatever. So that may be difficult for you to deal with. And I can appreciate that. Just, again, deal with it. Figure out a way to work through it because you are putting in the hard work at such an early age that later in life, I promise you, it's a walk in the park. Leadership and management, it really is not difficult. You just have to have empathy. You have to understand people. And that's my next point is, as a new, fresh manager, you may not have the empathy required to work with older staff. Now, what do you need to be empathetic about? What you need to understand is that these people, let's say they have a family, okay? And you need to think, okay, I'm young, I've got my parents, but my responsibility is this job, and I expect that to be their responsibility, but it's not. Kids, family, wives, spouses, elderly parents, all come to play in an adult's, or I guess a mature adult's life, where the job might have to take a back seat. They may have to be late on Wednesdays because there's nobody to look after their kids. as a young manager, you may say this is unacceptable because this is your clock in time. No ifs, ands, or buts, but you're not being empathetic. And I'm not saying that you need to bend over and just take everything that comes to you and assume that it has to be dealt with in an empathetic way. What I'm saying is, because you may not have been in that position before, let's say having kids that can't start daycare until 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whatever, because you haven't been in that situation, it is harder to be empathetic. So let's stop shitting on you, okay? Let's tell you why this is a fantastic idea. One, because you're young. If you, let's say, fail, like you're not getting it, you're not getting the respect you want, you're not getting the trust you want, people aren't listening, you're young. You have such a long time to grow into this career that if you take a step back and say, yeah, I'm getting the shit kicked out of me right now, people aren't listening to me, people aren't respecting me, know that you're putting in your time. You are learning, you're getting your beats at a young age so that when you get to your 30s, 40s, 50s, you are the boss without question because you've been there, done it, and you took it when you were young. This is a trial by fire. Maybe you're not, shoot. You're sitting at 14. You haven't gone to school. You don't have an MBA. You haven't learned how to manage people. So you are in the hot seat. This is how you learn the best. Because you know what you're going to do? You're going to tick somebody off and they are going to cuss you out up and down and sideways and your head is going to spin. Great. Now you know what not to say, or how you may want to rephrase it, or your skin's going to toughen up, and you're going to say, no, this is not how you're going to talk to me. This is a great opportunity to grow. It may be a painful growth, but this is a fantastic opportunity to grow. You're going to earn respect because you're young. Like I said, you may get kind of pushed off to the side, you may get picked on, but if you plant your heels, if you really put an honest effort into learning what's going on, learning how to be empathetic, learning how to delegate, of course in the description, but learning all of these things, you are going to earn respect. I say this firsthand because I had a manager, he was a young buck, he came in, no empathy at all, like zero. But as his time with the company grew, as we worked together more, I could see it's not that he was unable to learn it, it's just he didn't bring it with him. So as he was learning from me, from other senior employees, as he was learning this way to be empathetic, he was gaining my respect. Does that matter to him? I don't know. But it matters to me that this kid, he earned it. He earned every drop of my respect. And just to kind of sum this up, if you are a new young manager, again, it may be hard for you to gain respect and gain trust. And if you're dealing with other young employees, they're like, who is this guy? He's my age. He's going to be the boss. And then you're going to deal with senior employees and they're like, who is this kid? I got to change his diaper before he tells me what to do. Understand, this is going to be an interesting time to grow. But as you move in your career, you need to understand that this pressure you're going through right now is going to help you put your shit on lock. Nobody will be able to tell you how to lead a team in your 30s, 40s, and 50s because you've done the hardest part, which is starting at a young age. So let me be one of the people to give you props. I appreciate the path you've chosen. I appreciate how it may be difficult, but I also know that if you've chosen to take on this role, you're not stupid. You have a brain on your shoulders. So you'll do this. Again, it might be hard, and I don't want to deter you because it might be hard. Life's hard, kid. Sooner we figure that out, the better off people will be. And maybe there's a lot of people that are my age that should have had a little bit harder time in life because maybe they wouldn't be such idiots right now. Not talking to anyone in particular. Anyway, get your coffee. Let's go to the next video. Ciao.